This is One on One. We are pleased to be joined, while we're in the Senate chamber, we're pleased to be joined by Jon Bramnick, who is the Assembly Minority Leader. How you doing?
Good.
You know, you got this reputation, well-earned, for being the funniest member of the legislature, but these are not funny times.
No, but you don't take yourself seriously, but you take the problems seriously. And so it's just hard work. Bottom line is you have to work hard and you have to work with other people, but that doesn't mean you have to be mean or you have to take it personally or you have to be hostile.
So give me the funny part, or the part that you find the humor in, with this pension situation. We're taping on the 24th. This is our Legislative Leaders Series in the Senate chamber. We're doing the 24th. The judge's decision yesterday, Judge Mary Jacobson, on the pension. You give me a face already, Assemblyman. She said the state has to put in the $1.56 billion that was not in the budget last year. She said the governor didn't do it. We've had this discussion many times on Capitol Report. You said, the money's not there. What do you want us to do? But the judge said, find it. You say?
Well, the courts are not really good at managing the people's money. For example, they came up with Abbott, the Abbott district decision.
That's public school funding.
Exactly. And what's happened over the years is there's been incredible problems in trying to have the court and the legislature kind of work on something that meets this court standard. It's a constant battle. The courts really should say, hey, you're the elected officials, you're the governor, work it out. But the more you order from the bench when you're not an elected official, the more problematic it is. We'll get it done, we'll fix it, but once the court starts ordering things, it becomes extremely complicated.
What would you say to those assemblymen who say, the court steps in, or the court stepped in this case, because they believed you weren't getting it done or you hadn't gotten it done, and so if the court didn't step in, you wouldn't get it done?
If the court wanted to order, because the truth of the matter is, our system is just not affordable. Private sectors have ended this pension system, this concept of like 25 years out, they can predict what the investment return is going to be. We're going to have to do the same thing here. We have to fix this system long term. It's the way Social Security is. I'd like to think that it's going to be perfect for the next 50 years, but everybody knows the numbers don't pan themselves out. So we might as well all get to the table, sit down, figure out how we're going to save the pension system in the long term, and everybody's going to have to bite the bullet.
Speaking about biting the bullet, the Senate president sat right there and said, you know what? Democrats came up with a solution. Democrats in last year's budget said, here's most of the money, a big chunk of the money for the pension payment for public employees. We need to raise taxes on millionaires, and if we did that, we would not be in this hole right now, you say?
The discussion I hear every day from people is, hey, this state is too expensive, I'm going to move, my kids get out of college, or the moment I have an opportunity to move to a state such as Florida or Pennsylvania or the South or Texas, they're going to do that.
We're talking about millionaires, not middle-class people.
The millionaires live 6 months in Florida and they stop paying income tax to New Jersey. This is $70 billion left this state because we're too expensive. That's a study that nobody really argues with. Here's the bottom line. If we continue to raise taxes, we're going to end up with more companies like Mercedes leaving the state. This is when we have to bite the...
Going to Atlanta.
Look, you go to one store because it's cheaper, okay? It's not that more complicated when you pick a state you're going to retire in, or you're going to move to, or you're going to open your business. This is real. You talk about serious stuff that's not funny? This is serious. You become less competitive, people are gone.
So where are the cuts? So if we're not going to raise the millionaire's tax because you and the governor and the other Republicans are not going to support it, you've made that clear. The governor's been very consistent on this. He told us this in an interview we did on December 22nd, at the WNET NJTV interview. He was very clear, very consistent. He said, I'm not signing a millionaire's tax. He told me, he told many people that. So he's not going to do it. Even if the Democrats put it in the budget, not going to do it. So that means cuts have to come from somewhere, Assemblyman. Where would they come from?
Well, first you have to change the pension system. Example, a new person in the pension system, those benefits can be curtailed, and that new person could actually pay a little bit more. Now, for some reason...
That won't make up the whole.
No, but you have to start somewhere. The first thing you have to do is change the system, and you're going to have to also change...
Are the benefits too generous?
No question about it. Now, on the people who've already got those benefits, we're locked in. And
That was a commitment, a promise, a contract.
It's a contract, and they're going to get it. But for new people, for the unions or people to object as to a new person accepting a new package, I don't get that. That's number one. Also, the health benefits that we provide in the state, we need to make sure that those package of health benefits aren't so expensive that we can no longer afford them. So there's going to have to be some minor changes there as well, especially with new people in the system and for people who've been in the system for a long time. You want fair health benefits, but not the most expensive in the country.
Assemblyman, you told me in an interview, we had a legislative leaders panel discussion at the Business and Industry Association. It was a very good, spirited discussion on a range of business issues. Taxes came up. And while the Transportation Trust Fund issue, you said, don't worry, we'll take care of that. We're taping on the 24th. We hope it will be taken care of, but we don't know that. By the way, your prediction in taking care of that, before I ask you about the inheritance tax or the estate tax, do you believe that in fixing or dealing with the Transportation Trust Fund, which provides the dollars and cents to fix roads and bridges and mass transit, do you believe that will include a gas tax hike?
If we have what's called tax fairness, most of the Democrats say, raise the gas tax, raise the gas tax, raise the gas tax.
In order to fund the Transportation Trust Fund, which is running out of money.
And that might be part of the solution. But when you're talking about raising taxes, what's wrong with looking at or discussing a reduction in the inheritance or the estate tax, where people leave the state because the accountant tells them not to die here? What's wrong with looking at limiting?
Explain that to people.
Well, very simply, there's a federal estate tax, and then some states have an inheritance tax or a state estate tax, like for the state. We have both an estate and an inheritance tax, and the level of where you pay is very low. So what's happening is you go to your accountant and say, if you move to Florida, okay, not only will you have not a state income tax, but you'll also have a very minimum an estate tax within the state. So you have to be competitive. So you have to, when you have a discussion as to the Transportation Trust Fund, it should be a global discussion and trying to figure out ways to keep people here. If you have to raise the gas tax, if that's the ultimate decision of the legislature, you have to give something back.
But Assemblyman, when we spoke to the Assembly Speaker, your colleague, Vincent Prieto, he said, the problem with that is if you do away with the estate tax, if you do away with that estate tax, that revenue that we get, he says it's approximately $350 to $400 million. We have to find a way to make up that revenue. Like he said, excuse me, we're going to lose that money. And Jon Bramnick and others who argue that we should do away with that tax have to come up with another source of revenue, you say?
Well, first you have to stop the bleeding of people leaving the state and businesses leaving the state. I think that the problem with the Speaker's view is they don't realize we're in a crisis here. And the crisis is you've got to tell business and people we're on a different path in New Jersey. If you simply raise another tax and not do anything to give people some confidence to stay here, they're going to continue to leave. I believe that the situation is dire. Though you don't hear it, because businesses...
What situation? The situation in terms of the economic climate of New Jersey?
I remember a recent survey showed more than 50% of the people in New Jersey are either thinking about or want to leave the state because of how expensive it is. That's a crisis.
And which people are we talking about? What people are we talking about?
Regular New Jersey people.
And people who have the ability to move.
Exactly. So, you know, I guess it's, what do you put, is it the cart or the horse? And in this case, it's, you got to stop the bleeding. You got to give some incentive for people to stay in New Jersey and think we're at least heading down the right road. And all you do is say, well, let's raise the tax, let's not lower any taxes, let's not talk about any more cuts, let's just do this. That is a serious, serious mistake. And if you want me to get serious, that's the one I'm serious about.
Let me ask you this in the time we have left. I've asked several of your colleagues this question. The mood in Trenton, in the Statehouse, with the governor having the national ambitions that he has, and dealing with what it's like to be a national candidate, but also trying to take care of business in the state. What impact has that had on you as a huge supporter of the governor, as a legislative leader, and as someone who knows that you need the governor's active participation to get things done? How engaged has he been?
Well, I think he's very engaged, but this is my point. Do we ever give anybody the benefit of the doubt anymore? is it always harsh criticism right away?
There's no harsh criticism.
Well, what I mean is the
question.
governor of our state is considering running for president of the United States. That is service to our country and, in my judgment, service to the state. Everyone in this State House should understand that's not only good for New Jersey, but it's good for the country. And
Meaning somebody's got to run for president, and you're saying if it's the governor of New Jersey, that's a good thing for the state.
It is, and we should be supportive. And instead of us at every turn attacking each other, we should come out with one voice, and we should be proud of what Chris Christie's doing. The fact of the matter is, it's so political today. And not only that, part of it is the media, because the media wants a story.
How are we responsible?
Well, because you don't do it as much yourself, because that's not your business. But this 24-hour news cycle where everyone's beating each other to the punch, they want something. They need a headline that, is really, like, you see this all the time, breaking news. Everything in the world is not breaking news. Years ago, breaking news was
Is Chris
breaking
Christie
news.
a good target?
Oh my God, of course. Because here's the other thing with Chris Christie, and because I've seen that great interview you've done. He's one of the few people, and I've never seen this in politics. Most of us as politicians want to be liked. That's not what he cares about. And that is shocking to me as a politician. We're all presidents of the student council. You're an assemblyman. We want to be popular. That's not his deal. So that's one of the reasons I like him, because he's got the guts to be tough. So look, I'm proud of the guy. Not that I agree with him all the time, and he yells at me too. Okay, but I yell back. Oh, of course. But the thing is, I don't mind
I've
that.
been on the other end.
Well, because you know what the truth is?
He tells you what he thinks.
Which is really refreshing to me in today's world. I think this guy's a special type leader, and I think he's real smart. Scary smart.
Jon Bramnick, who is not just the leader of the Republicans in the Assembly, but a very strong advocate on behalf of the governor's policies, even though he doesn't agree all the time. I want to thank you for joining us as part of our Legislative Leaders Series. I'm Steve Adubato. Thanks for watching.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence, and 13 for WNET. Funding for this edition of One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been provided by Barnabas Health, the New Jersey Education Association, New Jersey's credit unions, NJ Best, Fedway Associates, Community Education Centers, the Northeast Regional Council of Carpenters, and by these public-spirited organizations committed to informing New Jersey citizens about the important issues facing the Garden State, and by Employers Association of New Jersey,